What's up everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of my State of PlayStation Studios series. Each episode will deep dive into one of PlayStation's first-party developers, go over its history, and then use that history to determine if you should expect great games for them to play on your PS5. I'll also be examining how much of an asset they are to Sony on a macro level. Essentially, looking at the business side of the video game industry to see if they can help the PS5 outperform Xbox in any of the various metrics where Sony defines success. And for this first episode, it only makes sense to look at Sony's most recent acquisition in Firewalk Studios. What's the state of this very recent acquisition? Let's find out. Firewalk Studios is a Washington-based developer that was founded in 2018, so quite recently. And while they were always a part of Probably Monsters' family of studios, they had full autonomy, as Sony wanted Firewalk to operate separately from Probably Monsters' other studios. Similar to how Bungie is technically under the PlayStation umbrella, but acts as its own independent subsidiary as it's not a part of PlayStation Studios. And due to this independence, they are the only PlayStation developer who is allowed to put all of their games on rival consoles. Anyways, speaking of Bungie, Firewalk Studios was exclusively founded by people who had previously worked on the Destiny franchise. Tony Hsu, who's Firewalk's studio head, helped establish the original publishing agreement for Destiny with Activision and managed the launch of Destiny 1's most successful DLC expansion in The Taken King. Ryan Ellis, who is the game director for Firewalk's upcoming project, was also a creative director on Destiny 2. And Eleanor Siegman was an executive producer on Destiny 2's most popular DLC expansion in Forsaken. Although that's the last time I'll mention her, as she left Firewalk back in August 2022. It would then only be 8 months later before Firewalk were officially bought out from Probably Monsters by Sony, who welcomed them to the PlayStation Studios family on April 20th, 2023.
Any last words? How's your sister? For a fire team. For Cade.
With this senior level pedigree of Destiny experience, it's no surprise that Firewalk's first game will be a AAA multiplayer game based on an original IP. But as you can see from the Destiny gameplay B-roll that's been playing throughout the video, that's pretty much all the official information I was able to find, meaning there's no actual gameplay to review. And trust me, I had a good look for anything. But considering their own YouTube channel has no videos, and they barely post on their Twitter or Instagram, it was always a losing battle. I did manage to dig up some information outside of the game itself though. For example, now that Firewalk is a PlayStation first-party developer, it's been confirmed that both Bungie and Haven Studios will be a part of the project in some collaborative way. Which makes sense, considering these studios' expertise with multiplayer games and live service/cloud-based models. The game will almost certainly simultaneously launch on PC as well. Again, this makes total sense, considering a multiplayer game requires the largest audience possible at launch to have any chance of success. And considering LinkedIn claims Firewalk already employs more than 130 people, that's quite a big studio that's going to need financial success with its live service to help pay the bills. Finally, and this is a big stretch considering how Twisted Voxel got there, it's looking like this game will release sometime in 2024. But I'm only mentioning this because if I had to put money down on a release year, 2024 would be the one, considering the game is far enough along in development for Sony to have enough confidence to acquire Firewalk, but not so far along that Sony felt comfortable showcasing anything yet. And considering we're now 5 months deep into 2023, it's unlikely releasing this year. To make it clear though, this is all speculation from me.
I mean, already we have, basically we give someone their laptop and within, seconds, they press on some buttons, some tools that we set up in the tray, and it loads based on their profile, everything they need. It's all working on the cloud. Like they said, even in other companies where there are armies of people doing the setup, that it's working better. So yeah, I mean, thanks in part to our CTO and the great, tech people that we have working on that stuff, but it's definitely inspired by the way we were working at Google.
So now that you know all there is to know about Firewalk Studios, do I think you should be excited for their first game? Well, despite the very little information to go off, I am surprisingly optimistic. From a talent perspective, I have no concerns if the game ends up being a first-person shooter. Firewalk's leadership have proven their pedigree on the Destiny franchise, and even the Call of Duty franchise before that, and this pedigree will only be further solidified with the already confirmed collaboration at their old stomping grounds in Bungie. At the very least, you should expect a shooter that has S-tier moment-to-moment gameplay. That alone has me cautiously excited. Now, when it comes to the business side of things, yes, we've all seen the potentially worrisome news in early 2022 that Sony has 10 live service games in development. This seems to be the big feature of Jim Ryan's era of Sony, and it could very easily go very wrong, especially for the PS5 owners who primarily bought the console for PlayStation's narrative-focused single-player games they're currently best known for. I imagine a significant percentage of PS5 owners fall into this camp, and you could certainly put me in there as they're my favourite type of games. But if Sony are going to go down this live service road, which I can't be too mad at considering the amount of profit Sony can make if even one hits, I'd rather these multiplayer focused games mainly come from these newly acquired multiplayer focused studios. If I still get games like God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West on a consistent basis, there's no need to complain. And who knows, maybe one of these live service games can capture a significant portion of single-player PlayStation gamers in some manner. And hopefully we find out more about Firewalks' game at Sony's upcoming May showcase to see if it could be the one to pull this off. Until then, I think we should all remain cautiously optimistic that this is one of the better live service games out of the 10 PlayStation are cooking up, considering the studio leadership's previous experience in this area, and Sony feeling confident enough to acquire Firewalk before the game is even publicly shown.
PlayStation Studios at its heart is a diverse and passionate group of storytellers at our collective of AAA studios all across the globe. Everything we do is driven and inspired by storytelling. As creators, PlayStation 5 gives us the opportunity to push the boundaries of storytelling even further. Our world-class development teams at PlayStation Studios have already delivered such incredible gaming experiences for PS5, and we're only just getting started.
Finally, from a strictly business perspective, the onus of these games to be a financial mega hit, like Fortnite, has also significantly lowered considering the CMA's recent block of the ABK acquisition by Microsoft. It's looking like Call of Duty is here to stay on PlayStation for even longer than the next 10 years, which should hopefully mean Firewalk doesn't feel the need to go too far to the point of exploitation with their live service elements, and therefore maximize revenue at the detriment of the game's quality. As it's looking like Crying Jim cried enough to guarantee that Call of Duty money keeps flowing on PlayStation. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed my analysis of Sony's most recent acquisition, and if you did, please do like, subscribe, and comment what you think about Firewalk. Any interaction is greatly appreciated, as it really helps with YouTube's algorithm. I'll see you all in the next video, where I'll be discussing Firesprite, and have a great day.